Welcome to Geography Juice. In this video we are going to describe the characteristics of sand dunes, understand their formation and explain what we mean by sand dune succession. For sand dunes to form they need the following conditions: a large flat beach, a large supply of sand, a big tidal range so there is enough time for the sand to dry before the tide comes back in again, onshore winds so sediment can be moved to the back of the beach, and they need obstacles on the beach, such as driftwood, for the dune to form against. Here is a simple diagram of a typical sand dune with the wind direction shown. The dune has a gentle slope facing the sea on the windward side. The dune has a crest, with heights which vary up to approximately 15 metres. The leeward side, facing away from the sea, is sheltered, but it has a steep and unstable slope. Sand is moved by the wind in three ways. Saltation accounts for 95% of all movement, and is when grains of sand bounce along as the wind picks them up and drops them again. Suspension is when the wind picks up and carries grains of sand. Creep is when grains of sand collide and they push other grains along. Sand dunes form where obstacles lay on the beach. Sand blown by the wind may settle against obstacles, forming a small ridge. Over time, sand is moved up the windward slope, building up the height of the dune and forming a crest. As it grows, the dune may become unstable and collapse. Sand will slip down the leeward slope. The size of sand dunes is dependent on wind strength. The stronger the wind, the higher the sand dunes. Sand dune succession describes how sand dunes and their vegetation changes as you move inland. Several lines of sand dunes may run parallel, and they will have distinctive vegetation. The sand dune system starts at the strand line, which is found at the high water mark. This is where debris is deposited at high tides. As this sediment builds up, an embryo dune is formed. Embryo dunes are unstable, and they can be washed away by high tides. As the embryo dune is colonised by salt-tolerant pioneer plants, it decreases the chance of it being washed away. Behind the embryo dune, yellow mobile dunes stand taller, with more vegetation and less bare sand. Marram grass is vitally important. It thrives in shifting sand conditions, trapping wind-blown sand with its dense growth, while its deep roots stabilise the sand and prevent erosion. Marram grass is also quick-growing, which aids this further. The dunes closest to the sea are sandy in colour due to the lack of vegetation, whereas semi-fixed dunes further inland have been colonised by more species of vegetation, so have less sand content and are grey in colour. Further back, fixed dunes have almost complete vegetation cover. Marram grass is now sparse and only found in isolated clumps, before ultimately disappearing. Stabilising plants accumulate organic matter, creating soil and increasing moisture retention, often hosting diverse plant life. The sand dunes are separated by dips, which are known as dune slacks. Slacks are formed as vegetation and sand is removed from the front of one dune and the sheltered backside of another. If these slacks erode far enough to reach the water table, freshwater pools can form. These slack pools are fantastic habitats for dune wildlife, such as natterjack toads, which use the pools for breeding. Sometimes a blowout may occur, which is a big depression caused by strong winds removing all of the sand, following the loss of the protective vegetation layer. The climax dune is the final, stable stage of a sand dune ecosystem's development, where the vegetation reaches equilibrium with the local climate and soil. Often appearing as shrubs or woodland at the back of the dune system, This stage occurs when the soil has developed enough organic matter and nutrients to support larger, non-specialised plants. To recap, sand dunes become taller as you move inland. Dunes change colour as they move inland. As you move from the shoreline to inland, dunes transition from young, unstable, yellow sand to older, stable, nutrient-rich brown soil, following a predictable sequence of changes in vegetation, soil and structure. Sand dunes are a place of constant change and movement. They require management to maintain their role as natural coastal defences, protect biodiversity and limit human impact. Thank you for watching.